On January 1st, 404 AD, a hermit monk named Telemachus was stoned to death by an angry crowd for interrupting a gladiator match and chastising the audience. But like many things in history, there are several versions of how he ended up being martyred. Some say he was stoned to death inside the Coliseum of Rome. But due to the decline of popularity of gladiator contests, it was most likely the event occurred in one of the city's smaller arenas. The tale of martyrdom of Telemachus was recorded by Theodoret of Cyrus, who said that the hermit monk traveled from his home in Asia Minor to spread the Gospels out west. According to him, he was stoned to death in a stadium. Later retellings of Telemachus, the most popular one, written in Foxe's Book of Martyrs in 1563 AD. He wrote, "A rudely clad, robed figure appeared for a moment among the audience, and then boldly leaped down into the arena. He was seen to be a man of rough but imposing presence, bare-handed and with a sun-browned face. Without hesitating an instant, he advanced upon two gladiators engaged in a life-and-death struggle, and laying his hands upon one of them sternly, reproved him for shedding innocent blood, and then turning towards the thousands of angry faces ranged around him, he called upon them in a solemn, deep-toned voice, which resounded through the deep enclosure. These were his words: 'Do not requite God's mercy in turning away the swords of your enemies by murdering each other.' Angry shouts and cries at once drowned his voice. 'This is no place for preaching. The old customs of Rome must be observed. On, gladiators!' Thrusting aside the stranger, the gladiators would have again attacked each other, but the man stood between them, holding them apart, and trying in vain to be heard. 'Sedition! Sedition! Down with him!' was then the cry, and the gladiators, enraged at the interference of an outsider with their chosen vocation, at once stabbed him to death. Stones or whatever missiles came to hand also rained upon him from the furious people, and thus he perished in the middle of the arena. His dress showed him to be one of the hermits who vowed themselves to a holy life of prayer and self-denial, who were reverenced by even the thoughtless and combat-loving Romans. The few who knew him told how he came from the wilds of Asia on a pilgrimage to visit the churches and to keep his Christmas at Rome. They knew he was a holy man, and that his name was Telemachus no more. His spirit had been stirred by the sight of thousands flocking to see men slaughter one another, and in his simple-hearted zeal he had tried to convince them of the cruelty and wickedness of their conduct. He had died, but not in vain. His work was accomplished at the moment he was struck down, for the shock of such a death before their eyes turned the hearts of the people, who saw the hideous aspects of their favorite vice, to which they had blindly surrendered themselves, and from that day Telemachus fell dead in the Coliseum. No more fight of gladiators were ever held there. A third version of the story says that Telemachus stopped the match to address the audience and told them to stop worshipping idols and sacrificing to Roman gods. He was then killed by the gladiators. Hearing his death, Western Roman Emperor Honorious, who banned gladiator matches back in 399, rebanned them again after hearing about the death of Telemachus. Telemachus made himself a martyr when he interfered with the gladiator match. His death ended the violent spectacle, which made him a saint. He is venerated by the Roman Catholic, Greek Orthodox, and the Church of England. His feast day is celebrated on January 1st.